Good evening, everyone. I just want to say welcome to the Sandpiper Middle School Information Night. So happy to welcome so many of our fifth grade families here. And that transition to middle school is certainly an exciting one. I've gone through it twice with my kiddos and just know how exciting it is for our students and our kids, and at times how nerve-wracking it can be for us as parents. And I want to just start by saying you are in good hands here in BRSSD. We have three incredible middle schools. And of course, we've been saying three great middle schools, one great fit. So we're certain that you are going to find the fit for your child, for your student, and Sandpiper may be that fit for you. I'm really grateful for the attendance of our entire middle school team at Sandpiper School. I think that says so much that all of our teachers and support staff are here to join us. Thank you for making that time commitment. I'll let Gloria and Stephanie, the amazing administrators at Sandpiper, say Principal Gloria Higgins and Assistant Principal Stephanie Scala. Without further ado, I'll let them take it away. And thank you for joining us tonight.
Oh, thank you so much, Mr. DeGuara. I am Gloria Higgins. I am the proudest, luckiest principal in the district. I'm just thrilled to be here tonight to share with you the amazing program that we have at Sandpiper School, and it is all due to the incredible staff that you're going to hear from tonight. I'm just going to have them introduce themselves momentarily. I do want to say before we turn it over for introductions that we do have the Q&A feature open in this webinar. So if you see a question, or if you have a question that comes up and you want to jot it down into that Q&A, Ms. Scala and I and Jerome Simon, our technology director, who's also on the call tonight, will monitor that and answer what we can in the moment through that Q&A feature. Ms. Scala, if you would like to introduce yourself, let's start with you.
There, my name's Stephanie Scala. I'm the assistant principal at Sandpiper and also a longtime teacher at Sandpiper. So it's one of my favorite places.
Ms. Beret.
Hi there, my name's Miss Beret. I am the sixth grade ELA and social studies teacher, as well as the electives teacher.
Thank you. Ms. Karkowski.
Hi, I'm Francesca Karkowski. I'm the sixth grade math and science teacher.
Ms. Bjorkquist.
Good evening. My name is Lynn Bjorkquist. I teach seventh grade ELA, history, and electives.
Thank you. Mrs. Oreo.
Hi, I'm Kristen Osorio. I'm the seventh grade math and science teacher.
Ms. Gao.
Hello, I'm Miss Gao, and I teach eighth grade science, math, and algebra 1.
Ms. Manchester.
Hi, I'm Andrea Manchester. I teach eighth grade history and ELA.
Mr. Van Laar.
Hi, I'm Coach Aaron, or Mr. Van Laar, and I'm the middle school PE teacher and our athletic director.
And right next to him, Ms. Van Laar.
Hi, I'm Emma Van Laar. I am our language specialist and interventionist.
Thank you. Ms. Romani.
Hi, I'm Manisha Romani. I'm the school counselor.
And Mr. Bartel.
Hi, everyone. Ben Bartel, Learning Center teacher here at Sandpiper School.
And just in case, did I miss anybody? I think I got everybody. Excellent. Mr. Simon, if you wouldn't mind advancing the next slide. Thank you so much. I did want to speak just a moment about our BRSSD strategic plan. We are very strategic and intentional in our district about the program that we want to deliver to our students. And we spent a good year developing the strategic plan, and all of our goals and learner profile are aligned to this. So I just wanted to put this up there and let you know that as a district, we are dedicated to creating well-rounded learners, creating a very strong sense of belonging and inclusion, really working to engage the community that includes you, and being thoughtful about how we can sustain and invest in our long-term future. That includes recruiting staff, that includes making sure that our facilities are top-notch. So really, really proud of the work that went into creating the strategic plan. You can go ahead to the next one, Jerome. And we did just introduce ourselves, but there we are in front of our lovely wall ball wall. That logo, that design was actually created by one of our students. And you'll see throughout the evening that we are very committed to putting students at the front of everything that we do, whether that's creating the environment around our campus or leading programming or designing some of their own learning experiences. We are very student-centered. Part of the strategic plan that I mentioned just a minute ago is to develop and implement a profile of a learner for our students. And at Sandpiper, we also have a purpose that goes along with that. We are committed. We strive to empower an inclusive community of critical thinkers who contribute to an ever-changing world. And you can see those learner profile components of think, innovate, and advocate embedded right in our purpose. When I think about our learner profile, I really think about the word integrated because it speaks to me about how we think, how we act, and how we feel being brought together in one whole effort to solve problems and to create community. And at Sandpiper, we do that through our signature practices of design thinking, metacognition, and diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging initiatives. And so I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Mrs. Oreo, who's going to take us on a little explanation of what we do with metacognition.
All right, you can go to the next slide.
Oh, sorry, Mrs. Oreo, we're not ready for you yet.
No worries.
We're going to riff on this. I forgot to share with you. We are, as I mentioned, we really center what students do every day in our school, and we're very proud of what our students tell us and say to us about the program that we have at Sandpiper. What you see here are the results of the Youth Truth Survey that we conduct every year. And what I can just share with you briefly about this slide is that on every category, engagement, academic challenge, all the way through to relationships, our students in the middle school rank Sandpiper above the 50th percentile, well above the 50th percentile in some of those categories that you see. And you can also see that they rank us at the top of the district as well. So we're very proud of that, that our work with our students is showing through and that they're recognizing that as well. If you go to the next slide, you'll see a little bit about what some of our students said. Specifically, what we have bolded here is that our students see that we want their thinking to be their own thinking. And so we're not generally just doing some busy work or repetitive work, but we're really digging into the deep thinking that students are engaged in. And they also recognize that usually in the lesson, there's a part where we ask them, why does that work? Going beyond just the surface level and going deeper to encourage them to tackle challenges and think outside the box. Thank you. You can go to the next slide. Now we're ready for Mrs. Oreo.
All right, so metacognition is something that we are putting, I think, a lot of focus in the middle school, but also school-wide. What you can see here are actually, we have two students who, during all time, what we do in 7th grade is we make them write out a plan for all time. What are the things that they want to accomplish during that time? How long will it take them to do that? You can even see some pictures, examples of some of their plans, as well as reflections. They're always asked to reflect on their plan, how their thinking went, what went well, what didn't go well. These two examples also, they even embedded into their schedule check-ins. I'm checking in with myself, seeing how I'm doing. Something that Miss Bjorkquist and I brought to our 7th graders this year is a whole idea of eating the frog. And it comes from a Mark Twain quote, which is pretty much, it's doing the hard thing first but being conscious of what that hard thing is, and then eat the frog first. You go to the next slide. So another thing that we talk about when it comes to metacognition, sorry if my dog might be a little loud in the background if you hear him right now. So we do a lot of executive functions teaching in middle school. We find that these students need kind of explicit executive functioning. Give me 1 second. Sorry, my dog's going a little crazy.
One of the really wonderful things about Sandpiper is we are an incredible family. It's good to see your dog, Mrs. Oreo. Keep going.
Sorry about that. He just had a bath. So we explicitly teach these executive functioning skills, and metacognition is one of those skills. And the students are learning about the skills. Within learning these skills, they're also identifying their own challenges within these skills, and we practice them routinely. We don't necessarily say like, okay, right now we're practicing working memory, but we are using that a part of all of our daily routines. And we find that when we explicitly teach these skills to these students and have them practice it, it allows them to be aware of their own thinking and aware of how they are going about doing their activities for school, as well as their activities outside of school. I'm getting students coming and talk to me saying like, I have this concert that I am preparing for, and I use the idea of planning out how I'm going to practice, what I'm going to do if things don't go well, what I'm not going to do in the future. Like, they're using these skills in their life outside of school, and that's what we want them to do, because it's not just to make them, you know, good students, but, you know, strong skills in all aspects of their life.
Thank you, Mrs. Oreo. I think up next is Miss Manchester to talk a little bit about DEIB.
It is I. So if you would advance to the next slide. DEIB, as many of us know already, stands for diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging, which is both an incredibly lofty ideal, but there really is science that backs up the importance of that. As you see here, it leads to better health outcomes, better academic outcomes, and better life outcomes. As a history and ELA teacher, it's really easy for me to say it's the stories we tell. And DEIB is really about that. It's the stories of history. It's the stories of our characters. It's the stories of our students, and really finding a way to make sure the context of what they are learning is about them, that they see themselves as an agent in their own learning. As we're talking about context, if you wouldn't mind going to the next slide. Very excited to share our Stingray families. Our 8th graders lead our school families. It might be something you're familiar with. The advantage in our TK 8th grade school is that we really can bridge across all of those grades. So our younger students, a family is made up of all the grades, and our younger students really get to connect with the older students, and our older students get the chance to have real leadership, an authentic experience of being depended on by their school families, of crafting something to do. I was just meeting with our committee today for our next school family event. And as they say, wow, they really look up to us. So it gives the chance for our middle school students, particularly the 8th graders, to really have that sense of how important they are and can be. And the value of that is so incredibly important in terms of self-esteem and finding a place at the school. It definitely is, as we say, a celebration of identities and cultures. Hopefully you'll be able to join us tomorrow in our tour, and you can hear that from our students themselves.
Thank you, Ms. Manchester. Up next is Ms. Bjorkquist. Thank you.
Unmute. Okay, I'm going to talk about design thinking, which is one of our signature practices, and it really does hook into thinking, innovating, and advocating. So as you can see here, this is kind of a linear model of how it goes. It never actually goes linear, so you have to kind of think of it more circular, but it's a approach to solving problem that involves, first off, understanding who they call them the user, or who somebody presents a problem. And the first thing you want to do is kind of interview that person and really get to the root of what is it that is bothering them, or what is it they need help solving that problem. From there, they write a needs statement where they define what it is that they're going to solve. And then they brainstorm a ton of ideas, because as we know, often our first idea isn't the idea that really hooks us in. So they come up with a bunch of ideas, then they make a prototype, or they write a prototype and test it out and go back to the original person or people and see if it works and solves the problem. If it does, they might make some tweaks, or they might go back to the drawing board and start defining and ideating again and testing it out. Let's make sure I have everything. It could be used in all the different subject areas. I'll give you a couple of examples of ways we have used it. In the beginning of this school year, we created videos to help the young kids see the rules that we have for our school and the expectations. In 7th grade, they made videos. In 8th grade, they made escape rooms, and kind of thinking about what is it that those little kids need to learn, and then created games and videos to teach those to them. It could be used. One year we made t-shirts, design t-shirts, and I think 6th grade did this again this year, where they thought, what is Sandpiper? What are signature practices? What makes us unique? And then they designed t-shirts and got feedback on how their design went. We've designed wallets and backpacks to solve the problems of those heavy backpacks and those exploding wallets. In language arts, we might help a historical figure or just a character from a book solve a problem. What could we do to help them? Thinking about their perspective. Through all this, they gain really crucial, I believe, life skills for growth mindset. They need to collaborate. They need to push their thinking and stretch their imagination. And they need to learn how to give, receive, and use feedback effectively. And a lot of that collaboration and communication is built into the projects that we do. As a teacher, it's thrilling to watch them. They come alive when we're doing these processes. And also, they enjoy them so much. And they're coming out with these great life skills. What's the next slide? Sorry. I think I have some, on the next slide, there's some examples of things students have done. So we started with, when we were creating games, we kind of look at what does a game have, and then interviewed the kids to see what kind of games they would like. We've solved problems that are school-wide. They solve problems for characters. And that's kind of what I'm going to say about design thinking. I love it. It's amazing to watch their minds just popcorn.
Yes, thank you so much, Ms. Bjorkquist. All right, up next, we're going to hear from Ms. Beret and Ms. Karkowski specifically about 6th grade curriculum and instruction. Take it away, Ms. Beret. You can
All
go
right.
to the
Okay, hello. So I'm Miss Beret. I'm the English language arts and the history teacher. And I'm super excited this upcoming year. We are going to be jumping in with a new reading program called Study Sync, which is a really dynamic reading program that integrates not only close reading, but vocabulary development, and just really brings language arts to life for the students. One of the things that we do at Sandpiper is we break down our reading units, and we work also with the Readers and Writers Workshop as well, integrating the writing process. So we dive into social issues and life stories with narrative writing. We do a deep study of character during personal narratives. We compare and contrast our writing and our readings. We do a lot of peer editing. We go into nonfiction. fantasy and graphic novel writing, and we end up at the end of the year with some book clubs for the students. So the reading and the writing go hand in hand together. If you're a good reader, you're a good writer, and good writers are good readers. And we like to integrate all of that together at Sandpiper. Moving on to history. Jerome, can you click there we go. Perfect. So history, we have the TCI History Alive, which is a really great program. We start out with early humans and the rise of civilization, jump into Egypt, then the Middle East, India, and China. From then on, we go to Greece and Rome. So we cover quite a bit of ancient history in 6th grade. We go on field trips to the Rosicrucian Museum, and the past several years, we've been doing a walk through the ancient world, which is an interactive in-school field trip where the students learn different parts, whether they're Greeks, Romans, or Egyptians, and they do an interactive walk through the ancient world, like a mini competition, which really brings the history to life, and we try to make it as interesting as we can. I'm a great lover of history, and I try to bring that enthusiasm to all my students.
Okay, I am Miss Karkowski. The kids call me Miss K. And I am the math and science teacher. So in science, we use STEM scopes, which is a next generation science standards based curriculum, which is awesome because it starts with a phenomena and a question, and the students are supposed to discover the answer through their critical thinking, and through guidance, but also by doing their own investigation with hands-on labs. So I'd say like weekly students are doing a hands-on lab in science class. Our topics of study in 6th grade are energy, water and weather, humans and climate, cells and body systems, and growth and reproduction in plants and animals. We can go to the next slide. And in math, we use a curriculum called Desmos, which is a really awesome curriculum because it allows for a visual understanding and asks for the students to really explain their mathematical thinking and understand the concepts and not just memorize steps and compute correct answers. It is definitely going beyond to, tier 3 thinking. Emphasis on math talks as well. We do centers and small grouping, and enrichment. There's opportunities for mathematical reinforcement, definitely in science. We have been working with kinetic energy, and students are having to use the algebra that they're learning in math to calculate the kinetic energy of objects. So it definitely math transfers to science. And they also do design thinking projects that require math. STEM Fair, we're in the midst of STEM Fair right now where students can choose either an engineering project or an experiment. And science labs, quest time, and all time. I just want to say briefly, all time stands for academic learning lab. And our middle schoolers get to have a block every Friday where it's their time to work on that executive functioning piece. They can complete homework, check in on grades, check in with their teachers. And in 6th grade, we use this time to conference with the students and also pull small groups, whether it be for math, ELA, social studies, or science, but to really help those students transition to middle school.
Thank you, Ms. Kay. To talk a little bit more about math and how it articulates through our middle school and onto high school, we're going to have Ms. Gao come on next.
All right, so I'm going to talk to you about our pathways at Sandpiper. And so basically, there are 2 tracks, but it's not to say that once you're on a track, that's the only track that you can be part of. So in 6th grade, there is the regular Common Core 6th grade class that is grade level appropriate. And then there is accelerated. And so those are the 2 tracks that we have. And whether you're in accelerated in 6th grade or not, there's an opportunity for you to be part of accelerated in 7th grade, or if it's necessary, to go back down to the regular 7th grade class. This is also true for, 8th grade Common Core and Algebra 1. If you're in the regular 7th grade class, it's certainly possible for you to get into Algebra 1. And it also may be more beneficial for somebody to have the 8th grade Common Core, even if they were in accelerated math before. So I just want to say that there is opportunity to change tracks pretty much at any of the levels, which I think is actually a great opportunity because in a lot of other programs or schools, once you're in a track, that's kind of where you're at. And so this is really sort of a way to go in a direction of growth and what is good for students getting that really great foundational math, and not just kind of like getting to the next level kind of mindset. And so our students are very well prepared for high school. And I've had a lot of students come back and tell me that, they felt like their foundation was really good in understanding how to tackle high school mathematics. And so let me talk to you about the math pathways at Carlmont High School, which is the high school that our district feeds into. Next slide. So this looks very intimidating. But basically it shows that everybody starts out at Common Core 8th grade math, unless given the opportunity to do the high school Algebra 1 class, which is what we offer at Sandpiper. And so from there, the top track is kind of the track that you could take if you didn't want to do sort of a traditional track and you wanted to have a bit better understanding, foundation, but none of these are set in stone. So for example, if you were in Common Core 8th grade and you really wanted to be in geometry, you could take Algebra 1 as like a summer school course and still get into that track if that's what you want. Really, the only reason why people would take out, geometry their freshman year is to get that calculus class their senior year to not have to take that as like a prerequisite in college. And just to be clear, the Calculus AB class is only 1 semester of the college course. The Calculus BC is the whole year. And there is a way to be able to take Calculus BC even if you are originally in the regular geometry class and not in the honors geometry class. So there's a lot of opportunity even in Carlmont to switch tracks. But really the only reason to skip Algebra 1 to take it in 8th grade is to try to get that calculus their senior year. Multivariable calculus is not an actual college course. This is actually just a repeat of the calculus course, but it goes into a little bit more depth and there's a little bit more of, why are things the way that they are, some proofs. The real course that comes after calculus is Calculus 2. There's Calculus 1, there's Calculus 2, and then there's linear and so on and so forth. So there isn't really a reason to take Algebra 2 the freshman year, which has been, for some reason, popular these days. But I would not recommend it. Carlmont does not recommend it. It's totally fine if you want to be on the track where as a freshman, you know, taking geometry all the way through calculus, that is normal, acceptable, but it's also completely normal to just go into Algebra 1. Algebra 1 is a high school class in high school, and take the high school courses and leave calculus for college. That's also an incredibly normal path. So I just want to leave you guys feeling that there are a lot of options, that any track that you take in middle school does not define your track in high school, and that even in high school, there are pathways that can, you know, be mixed up and switched around depending on, you know, what your interests are, what your students' interests are, and, you know, kind of what your plan is for the future.
Thank you so much, Ms. Gal. All right, we have Coach Van Laar up next.
Hi. So I am the PE specialist at Sandpiper, and some of the things we focus on are fitness, nutrition, sport, and goal setting. Currently, right now, one of the sports that we're doing is ping pong and some racket sports. So those are some of the fun sports that we do. And at Sandpiper, I like to kind of put our fitness and all of our running and stuff into our games and activities. And so we have a pretty good time in class. You can go to the next slide, please. I'm also the athletic director, like I said previously, and some of the sports that we offer are flag football, cross country, volleyball, basketball, and tennis. Any extra sports are kind of based on our interest levels. We have tried to get soccer going in the past. We've gotten pretty close. There's some other sports like track and field that we have some interest that we would love to have more, but if there are more students, then we offer those sports. That's it for me.
Thank you so much, Coach.
Okay,
Ms. Gal.
that brings us to music and art. So I like to say music is one of our add-ons that we have. You'll hear me talking about that, and add-ons are things that are not part of our academic day, but are either before or after school, or as a online class that we will talk about in a few minutes. So music is one of those add-ons that it is weekly before school. You're offered band or strings. But there's also options for music during intersession. We have music eras, which is a really cool one, ukulele playing, but we will talk a little bit more about that when we talk about what intersession is. And then art, we have Leap Art, also monthly, and the same during electives and in intersession. We do offer art as a class, as classes. So next slide. As I was talking about, we're really excited next year to be able to offer world language. So as you see here, we're going to have a few languages to offer: Spanish, French, Chinese, Latin, and German. And this will be an online course that is monitored. It's one of those fun add-ons that we talked about where you can do a language not during your academic day. We will start with our 8th graders because this is our first year rolling it out. Then we will go down to 7th grade, and if we are available or have space available, we will enroll 6th graders next year as well. So it's something to look forward to. Next slide. All right, as I was talking about, we have our electives in enrichments. So in 6th grade, you and 7th grade are the same this way, that you have 2 electives that you rotate between your 1st and 2nd trimester. And then on your 3rd one, you get to have a little bit of a choice. And so for 6th grade, that's digital media and cultural arts. And then the options are music eras and culinary arts after that for your 3rd trimester that you get to pick from. In 7th grade, there's a public speaking class, and then print and media journalism. And then in your 3rd trimester, you get to choose from tinkering in our makerspace, or broadcast journalism, or podcasting. And then in 8th grade, because you're so awesome and you made it to 8th grade, you get a choice every trimester. And so some of our choices that we have currently in 8th grade are graphic arts, world religion, Japanese culture, marine biology, textile design, and web design. Now, our electives are really awesome because they do change, and teachers get to lean into their interests so they can be more passion classes, and they listen to students. We're really big about student choice and what they might want when we're making these choices. So the choices you have that you see here might be the same, they might change. I think that's one of the really cool things about Sandpiper. With that, on top of our electives, we have intercession. Intercession is a really awesome time when, while the elementary school is having their conferences and we have half days, we get to kind of change up in the middle school and do intercession. And that's every single middle school teacher teaches a passion class, something they're interested in, or something that students have talked about. This could be an arts, a language, a music, sports. I mean, we did mock trial. We've done Japanese culture. We've done oh my gosh, there's so many awesome things that I'm trying to think of all of them at the top of my head. But
Forensics, ukulele.
yes, like I mentioned, yeah. And watercolor, board games, making your own graphic novel, how to do that, how to storyboard it. I mean, really weightlifting and I'm gonna say it wrong, Erin. And so
Kinesiology.
thank you. I thought he was gonna jump in, but he's not there. Okay. So just some really fun offerings that we have, in that students get to have some variety, and in intercession kind of dip their toe into something new. Also trying new things with electives and really keeping a broad range of things that students get to do. And then there's also National History Day and STEM Fair that we take part in every single year. And let me talk a little bit about Quest Time there as well. Another really awesome thing that we have at our middle school is Quest Time. And Quest Time is a time when students, I've talked a lot about teachers' passions and things that they can teach. It's when students get to have a passion and turn that into a project and really jump into that learning. This was an idea that we took away from Google, that Google has their employees do a passion project, something that they're interested in, it's something that they want to dive into, and it actually increased productivity among the workers at Google. And we really thought that was an awesome idea when we were working to get our middle school started, and want students to do the same. So they work with their teachers, and they do a proposal, they come up with an idea, and then they work on that every Monday. They have their Quest Time, and they work on that, and the teachers help guide them, and they try things. It could be anything from let's see, someone throw out an idea. We have Lego stop motion movies. We've had beautiful paintings that have been done, diving into different types of paintings. We've also had projects that were helping students with stress balls and things to help their mental health at school, and fidgets. So the students come up with some really awesome ideas, and then we get to have a showcase to show off all that amazing work. Okay, I think I got it all in there. That was a lot.
Thank you so much, Miss Scala.
Next slide. And these are some more of our extracurricular activities that we have, that are those add-ons that might not be not during the school day, but there are some awesome clubs and opportunities that we have for students that you can see there. Next slide.
All right, we're ready to hand it over to Miss Romani to talk a little bit about our counseling supports, and then we'll also hear from Miss Van Laar and Mr. Bartel.
Yeah, so hi again, everyone. I'm Anisha Ramani. I'm the school counselor. We can go to the next slide. Here are some of the supports that are offered at Sandpiper. First and foremost, just talking about the importance of SEL and how it really impacts students' academic achievement And it also increases pro-social behaviors like kindness, sharing, and empathy, and really reduces stress overall. Some of this Andrea talked about when she was talking about diversity, equity, and belonging. One thing about Sandpiper is it is a smaller school, so oftentimes the kids will have a really strong relationship with their teachers. And I honestly often see a lot of students, even before they come to me, confiding in their teachers, and their teachers really know each and every one of their students. And I just think that's really special and really great for their mental health and well-being as well, to just have so many supportive adults in the middle school. So the services that I personally offer is if your child has already gone to Sandpiper, I'll have a continued relationship with them next year. Like they'll know where my room is, just another person in a safe space they can go to on campus. I do offer 6 to 8 weeks of individual or group counseling. Like right now at the middle school level, I'm offering groups on executive functioning, emotional regulation, and I even just do one-on-ones for students who might be going through difficult circumstances at home or are just having a hard time coping and might have anxiety or things like that. I also provide referrals to outside resources. I check in with all the students as needed. My room is always open and available to them. They can also email me, so they're usually familiar with how to reach out to me. And also for eighth graders this year, I'll be doing a 4-year plan for their high school. So kind of just helping them explore their future, understand their high school and what lays ahead of them a bit, whether they're going to Carmont, D-Tech, or elsewhere. And the content, so I do teach lessons from the Child Mind Institute, and these are coping skills such as understanding feelings, how our thoughts affect our feelings and our behaviors, what we can control, what we can't control, so things like that. And the teachers also have the Wayfinder curriculum, which is another SEL curriculum that is taught in their classes. There is a homeroom that includes breakfast, morning meeting, and SEL content. And we also have a weekly assembly with the whole school at Sandpiper. That's TK all the way to 8th grade. And there are different grade levels that kind of put on performances and have a different theme for each assembly. So once again, it's just a kind of great way for inclusion and students to feel like a part of the community, and even seeing the younger kids. I always feel like it's good for them and they kind of get to be a kid, even though a lot of them right now reporting feeling stress or feeling pressure. I do think Sandpiper just like lets them have that opportunity to be a kid as well. And then I do targeted content, like I'm taking them on a field trip this year to learn about drug awareness, just developing leadership skills so the students themselves can also be equipped to teach classes or talk to their peers about the harmful effects of drugs and things like that. And yeah, I'm always open if you need to contact me. There's my email address. Um, and I'm happy to meet with by appointment. One thing that's new that I am helping launch this month is Mindfulness Month. So we want to really bring mindfulness to Sandpiper and help students gain awareness of their emotions, their body. And I'm also partnering with one of the parents on campus to offer workshops to parents for parent mindfulness and well-being as well. So we really just see an importance of a community and how we can all come together to support our students. And that's it. I will hand the mic to whoever's next.
All right, Mrs. Van Laar.
Hi, I'm Emma Van Laar. I'm our language specialist. I work with our multilingual learners at Sandpiper in our middle school. So there is an eligibility requirement to see me. I work with students who are typically scoring level 1 or 2 on the LPAC and are newcomers to the United States. Generally, I see students about 2 to 4 times per week for about 30 minutes, whether it's a push-in or a pull-out service. And during this time, we focus on language acquisitions within the 4 domains of the LPAC, which are reading, writing, speaking, and listening. And I work closely with our teachers to help support students by integrating core content into our group time. So I integrate whatever students are working on in ELA, history, science, and even sometimes math to acquire more language in those areas. And I also have a time for all students to come see me once a week if they need support in any projects that they're working on, assignments, or essays. And that's it for me.
Thank you, Ms. Van Laar. Up next is Mr. Bartel.
Hi, everyone. Ben Bartel here. I'm the Learning Center teacher here at Sandpiper School. So as you can see, we have an amazing intervention team here at Sandpiper. And as part of the intervention team, I'm the Learning Center teacher. So we have push-in and pull-out services for those students who are on what's called an IEP. I myself am the ed specialist. We also have paraeducators that work with students either directly in classrooms or within the Learning Center. We have I have a great relationship with all of our gen ed teachers. We talk on a daily basis regarding could be students' assignments that are coming up, things they need to work on top of students' individual goals. So we're working kind of in collaboration with their gen ed teachers and the goals that they have as part of their IEP and what accommodations and things that are working well for them. But yeah, a great program, excited to be here, and Sandpiper is a great school.
Thank you, Mr. Bartel. I will just add, for those of you in the audience who may have students with intensive needs, we do also host a classroom at Sandpiper for students who have things, maybe some nonverbal learning differences or just intensive needs. So if that's you, we would love to see you at Sandpiper next year. You can go on to the next slide, Jerome. All right, it's back to me. Thank you. I just want to shout out again to our amazing middle school team. You are very fortunate to get to meet them tonight. For those of you who had some questions about the tour, some of you will be touring our campus tomorrow, and you'll get to see them in action. The tour is scheduled tomorrow for 8:45. We had asked for prior registration for that tour, so there's still a little bit of room, but we don't have a whole lot of room, so we can't kind of take all comers tomorrow. We'll consider offering another tour date if that becomes possible for us, and we'll communicate that out. It is a tour for parents only, so your student is not able to attend. We want them to be in class with their 5th grade classmates and teachers, so we won't be able to offer that for students, but parents are able to come and see tomorrow. Here is a sample schedule for our middle school students, and what you'll notice here is that we operate with a double block schedule, which means our periods are typically twice as long as what you would find at a typical middle school. And that means that students may be in a class for twice a week, but they're in that class for twice as long. Same number of instructional minutes, just arranged a little bit differently. And what that really offers us is the flexibility to go deeper on things like a science exploration lab, where you don't want to just get to the good part of the investigation and then have the bell ring in 50 minutes and then you have to clean up really quickly. So we get to do those longer, deeper explorations in content areas, or when appropriate and when necessary, the teacher is able to break up those periods, which are typically an hour and 50 minutes long, into shorter chunks to do some targeted mini lessons, small explorations, or just kind of quick re-instruction of different concepts. So it gives us a lot of flexibility. You'll also notice here that we have those before school opportunities that Miss Scala discussed. So we are introducing world language tomorrow, world language next year. We are looking to schedule that on Tuesdays and Fridays before school. That is still tentative as we look to hire somebody to supervise that room. But that opportunity is monitored virtually by a credentialed teacher. Your student will receive credit and a grade for that class, just like they would any other academic class during the academic day. It just happens before school. And also we have that strings and band opportunity before school. You'll also see there the quest time that we have built in on Monday mornings and that all time that we have built in on Fridays in the middle of the day. And then the other core content areas are offered twice a week, but again, for that double long period. You can move on to the next slide, Jerome. All right, we're getting close to the end. Please save the date. Our first day of school next year is August 14th, and we will host a student orientation before school starts, either on the 12th or 13th. That is to be determined still. And if you move on to the next slide, I'm going to show you how you can get that information. Parent Square is our district-wide and the tool that we use for communicating all official school information. Once you are confirmed as a Sandpiper student and we have you enrolled in our system through registration, you will get an invitation to receive Parent Square updates from me. So as soon as your school assignment is confirmed, you'll start getting those updates. Those will be sent to the email address that you use for registration. So please do be accurate. Make sure you've got that right email address on there. And I encourage you to get the app. It's pretty friendly, easy to use on your phone. You can go ahead to the next slide, Jerome. All right, I think Ms. Scala, you're going to take us home.
Yeah, so that is our wonderful middle school in a nutshell. If you have any questions, oh my goodness, Mrs. Higgins is on here. Gloria, I'm Stephanie Scala, the assistant principal. You can see my email there. And then our amazing front office staff, Mrs. Rogers and Mrs. McGuire are also listed there as well.
And that's it, Jerome. You can move on to the next slide. We will leave the Q&A open for just another minute in case there's some other questions that you want to get in there. And we will do our best to get those answers to you either through typing them or sending out the information later if we need to. Thank you all so very much. And again, big thank you to our team for joining us tonight. We are truly the best middle school around. I'm very proud, very lucky to work with such an amazing team. Very nice to see all of you tonight. Feel free to log off as you're ready or get those questions in last minute. Thank you.